Hello everyone, welcome to the another video on Power Automate. I am Dinuji Loganathan. I hope you guys enjoying my content, which I recently created, the Power Automate A series and other videos. I hope this is the last video on 2024. I hope you guys will support me on another year as well. I mean 2025 as well. So today I came up with another interesting use case, work queue. So recently, one of the community member reached out to me, and he came up with some different use case. Okay, so we have some Excel file. Okay, so the Excel file is looks like this. So it have the invoice information, but so this information contains some PI data as well. For example, the yellow highlighted customer name, email, and the card last four digits are the PI data. So they are using kind of dispatcher and performer framework. So the dispatcher first will read the this Excel file, then it will push into the work queue items. Okay, so in the once we push the data into the work queue items, then bot will trigger the another flow. It will do the performance. I mean, it will take the required input from this work queue items, then just assume it will interact with Contoso app and start filling this, I mean creating this invoices for those data. Okay, so this is our use case. First let's create the work queue, then we will try to push the item into the work queue. Then finally we will also see how to encrypt and decrypt the data. I mean, while we sending to the work queue items, we will encrypt, and while we fetching the data, I mean processing the data from work queue items, we will do the decryption part as well. Okay, I hope this use case is clear to everyone. Let's jump into the Power Automate desktop. Let's create a new flow. So this is called dispatcher bot for invoice. Okay, let's keep like this and click create. Before that, let's go into the Power Automate work queue. Okay, so just click on the more and go to the work queue tab. Then let's create the new work queue for this use case. Okay, click on the new. Maybe what I will keep. Okay, so dispatcher. I know. Contaso invoice work queue. Okay, this is fine. Then click create. Okay. Now successfully I created my work queue. You can see here. So we got the Contoso invoice WQ and created on December 26, 6:25 a.m. That is fine, and created by Dinochi Loganathan. Let's go to the work queue items. We don't have any items right now, but let's try to create one item here for your understanding. Okay, so let's keep this invoice 1001 and the status is queue is fine. Then I want to take the data from that Excel file, right? From the Excel file I want to uh, push the information. So what are the data I want to push the Condosa app? If you look at here, I have date. So the due data, maybe let's take the invoice date, and account name is a, maybe let's keep as a customer name as a account name. Then contact is a contact email ID. Then amount, the invoice amount. Okay. Then let's keep the status was invoiced. Okay. This is fine. Let's take some data from the Excel file for creating the sample one. Okay, let's create in JSON format. Okay, so this is invoice ID. Okay, let's keep this as in inv100, okay, comma, then customer name, so Alice Johnson, comma, then customer email, so customer 0 at the rate gmail.com. And finally, no, I think we have to pass invoice date and amount as well. So invoice date, let's keep this as 1 1 2 2023, and amount, invoice amount, let's keep this 100, okay. This is fine. First, let's go ahead and create our sample item here, okay. Once you enter this, just click on the create, okay. So this is how we have to manually create our work queue items, okay. So in creating, okay, this is perfect. You can see the data here, okay. Now let's go to the Power Automate desktop, okay. Then go to the work queue package, then just drag and drop the process work queue items, okay. This is for just your understanding. This is not a dispatcher work, but I'm just explaining how it works, okay. So work queue, just pick up the contoso invoice wq, this is okay, fine. Then what we will do, let's keep some message box inside, okay. Let's keep this as info test, okay. Let's run this. So once we push the data into the work queue items, then we can leverage this work queue package with the process work queue items. You can dequeue the all the datas, okay. If you look at here, it is showing work queue item, returned the work queue item. You can see the work queue item values here, okay. So invoice id, customer name, customer email, invoice date, amount, etc. This is looks fine, okay. This is how we need to fetch the data from the work queue items, okay. Now let's go to the actual use case. First, let's launch the Excel file, okay. Then I will go ahead and pick my invoice Excel file, okay. So invoice Excel file, which contains some PII data. So this is the Excel file I'm talking about, okay. Then let's go ahead and read the data here, okay. Read Excel from worksheet, this is fine. Then let's go to the all values from the worksheet, and in the advanced tab, just enable this on the first line of the range contains column names, okay. Now we read the data from Excel file, and now it is stored in the Excel data, okay. Now I want to push this data into the work queue items, okay. So our work queue is Contoso invoice WQ, okay. Let's go to the work queue package again. Here you can see the two different commands to push the data into the work queue item. One is the add work queue item, and another one is add multiple work queue items. Let's drag and drop the add work queue items here and pick our Contoso invoice WQ. This is our work queue name. Status is fine, period is normal. Now I want to pass my input data here as well, okay. Previously we created our work queue items manually, right? So that id I will delete it right now, okay. I just copy the same data and paste it here, Okay, then let's keep this name as invoice name. Okay, invoice 10000. Okay, this is fine, and I click save now. Now it will read the Excel data and it will push some sample values. That is fine. Let's run this for now. Okay. If you look at this, you can see here the Excel data contains totally 50 rows with the 9 different columns. Okay, which contains some PA data as well. So this is our new work queue item variable where you can see we have pushed this sample values to the work queue items. Let's go ahead and check in the backend. Okay, I mean in the Power Automate. Okay, we already created something and manually, but we deleted it. Right now, let's refresh this. Since we are pushing from the Power Automate desktop. Okay, fine. Now it is showing INV 10000 and the time is 6:33, almost the same timestamp, and you can see the data here. Okay, now I want to encrypt this information. I mean customer name and email. Okay, so let's go to the Power Automate desktop again. So I want to iterate this Excel data. I will copy and maybe drag and drop that Excel data here. Let's pick the Excel data from the variable panel. This is fine. Let's push, add work queue items inside the for each loop. Okay. Previously, we appended some sample values. Those are, the sample one. Now let's replace with actual values. Okay. Let's take the data from current item and what is our customer ID property. Okay, let's keep this as a, we want to extract the data from invoice ID from the current item. Okay, this is fine. So likewise I have to do it for other columns as well. Let's keep this as well. Okay, customer name, customer email, then invoice date. Last one is the total amount, right? I will replace this as well. Okay, now it will go on the iteration mode, and in the current item, what are the invoice data it have, it will extract all those information: invoice ID, customer name, email, invoice date, and total amount. Then it will push into the Contoso invoice work queue. Okay, let's save this. Let's add some breakpoint here. Before we run that, let's go back to the Power Automate and delete the existing one. Okay, so this is showing 6:33 a.m. right? That is fine. Now we are deleting this INV 10000 invoice. Come on, I will do the refresh. It is still loading. Just bear with me for few seconds. I mean, that is fine. Let's go back to the Power Automate flow again. Let's run this. Now it is launching the Excel file and reading the data, and now it is pushing to the Contoso invoice or queue. Okay, let's wait for a few seconds to get the response from or queue item. I think the Power Automate AB is bit down, I guess. Yeah, so let's go ahead and check this again. Okay, no item, fine. Let's try to push one more time. Perfect. Okay, now it is working fine. You can see here, this is the value we pushed into the Contoso invoice or queue. Okay, so these are the information. Let's check for the next iteration what it is showing. Okay, I will click run next action. Again, it pushed that information as well. If you look at here, now it is showing 1001, another invoice. Now it is showing customer name is Bob Smith and customer one at mail.com and invoice amount everything. Okay, this is fine. Okay, let's go back to the Power Automate again. Now I want to encrypt some details, right? So what I will do, I will just type encrypt here, encrypt text with the AES. Okay, there are a lot of options to encrypt your PA data here. I'm just go with a very basic one. So I'm using the Unicode encoding, options here, and the data I want to encrypt here is, let's take it from the current item. What information I want to encrypt here, this is customer name. Okay, let's put this as a customer name. Okay, and encryption key is, let's keep very simple. Okay, I will just keep this as a Power Automate. Okay, in advanced step also you have a lot of options to use salt and initialization vector and all. That is fine. And now let's give this as mm, string customer name. Okay, likewise I want to encrypt two more informations. What is that? Customer email, customer email. Let's keep this as customer email. That is fine. And I think only these two information, because we are passing invoice ID, customer name, email, and invoice date, total amount. Okay, so these other twos are not pay data. Okay, let's remove this and click here again. Let's replace with string str customer name. Okay, customer email, again we will replace this with str customer email. Okay, fine. Let's save this flow and click run. Now let's go back to the work queue items. Okay, so this is the first invoice we pushed without encryption. Okay, sorry, not this one, this one. Okay, so Alice Johnson, customer, and this is fine, right? And in some of the, I mean, from here, I guess, from here we started pushing the encrypted data. Okay, now we have encrypted the customer name and the customer email. Okay, so now we encrypted the two P data here. So it is still running and it is pushing almost 50 items here. Okay, we can do the refresh counter. So invoice app, do the refresh, go to the items. You can see here it is showing till 1035, right? So it will keep pushing till 1049. So this is the work of dispatcher. Okay, dispatcher part. So it will push till okay, only one is left. Okay, perfect. So now we have pushed all our invoice data into the Contoso invoice or queue items from the dispatcher bot. Okay, this is my dispatcher bot. Let's save this. Okay, now let's try to create the performer bot. Okay, now you have the data in Contoso invoice WQ, right? So usually the performer bot, right? So the performer bot I want to trigger when we insert any item into the specific work queue table, right? So let's create uh, automated cloud flow. We don't have any direct options to set work queue items as a uh, trigger point. So instead we are going to leverage data was trigger. So when a row is added or modified or deleted, I want to trigger this bot. Okay, so this is performer performer bot. Now you can choose the type, added or modified or deleted. So in our case, just added is fine, and a table name is work queue. Okay, work queue items, and scope is, let's keep this as a organization. This is fine. In case if you want to filter the data, like if you go to the work queue table, you will get some work queue ID for your work queue you created. Okay, so this is showing for invoice data, but similarly we can get for Contoso invoice work queue as well. Come on. Okay, so here you can see here, this is the row unique ID and work queue GUID is this one. Okay, and also what are the data we pushing into the work queue uh, power automate work queue item, that also you can see from work queue items table. Come on. Maybe I will come back to this topic later. So okay, so once the trigger point is set, then let's at least have one trigger and one action, right? Okay, so let's give this as one more action is compose. For the time being, let's keep this as compose test and click save. You can see here the work queue item table, right? You just open the work queue item. You can see all the information, I mean work queue items details here. So now we have around 49 50 items, right, on the contour. So invoice work queue, those information we can see in the work this table. Okay, you can see here. You can see, right? So let's open value or inputs, I guess. Okay, this is, you can see here the data whatever we push into the work queue items, everything is encrypted. I mean the customer name and the email. Now I want to process this data on my Power Automate desktop flows. Okay, so once you created this, then you can connect your desktop flow using desktop flow, run a flow build with Power Automate desktop or Power Automate for desktop. Okay, once you created your performer bot, you can configure here. Okay, now let's go ahead and create our performer bot. I am going to create now performer invoice. Okay, I click create. Now we are going to read the all work queue items which we have in the contours invoice work queue, right? So just type work queue again and drag and drop process work queue items and pick contour invoice WQ and click save. Now just drag and drop message box here, message box here, info test. Okay, now let's run this and see how it is processing our work queue items. Now it is fetching the first item. Okay, let's go back to the Power Automate to check that. So initially it was in queued state, right? Now it is shows as processing. Okay, because we are processing the data. We will do the refresh again. You can see here. So INV100 is now it's showing as a processing. Okay. So once you process this information, once you read the data, how to read the data? You can fetch this work queue item dot value here. So once you read this information, then also you can change, the work queue item status. Okay. So you can change the work queue items using work queue item, update work queue item here. Okay, just drag and drop this, and the work queue item is fine. It is automatically taking the information, and also you can change the status processed, or if you want to throw any exception, generic exception, IT exception, it's based on your requirement, you can do that. Now I keep this as a processed. I did not include any input and processing notes here. I click save now. Okay, let's verify this how it works. Okay, now everything shows as queued. Okay, go back to the flow. You can see here this is processing inv 1000, right? So let's go back to the Power Automate, and you can see here it is showing processed. Okay, you can see the timestamp here 7:08 a.m. Okay, so the time is 7:08 a.m. and the duration it took is 7 seconds. Okay, and input we did not change anything here. In case if you want to decrypt this information, let's stop this flow. Let's take the input value from work queue item dot value. Okay, it will show the JSON data. Then we will use custom object JSON to custom object to convert the JSON to the dictionary type variable. Okay, so cust invoice data. Okay, let's run this again now. So previously it processed INV 10000, right? I mean now it is picking 1001, and this is fine. Let's see how it after it converted to the custom object. So if you look at the custom object, you can see here, but the customer name and the email are encrypted. Okay, okay. Now how to decrypt that? Just type decrypt text with AES, drag and drop. Now you can take the data from custom object. Okay, so invoice data, mm, customer name. So the decryption keys what we used on the encryption. Okay, so Power Automate. So this is decrypted customer name, right? So similarly we have to do for another email as well. So email. Okay, now let's run this. Now it will process I think invoice 1002. Okay, now let's see the customer name and email decrypted data. So you can see here Charlie Brown is the invoice INV002 customer, and his email ID is customer2@mail.com. Okay, this is absolutely fine. So if you want to trigger your Power Automate desktop flow when we insert any item or queue item into our Power Automate work queue, for example in the Contoso. Okay, so if you want to distribute the workload between the different machines, I mean the machine group. How to handle this? We have to add one more action called, let's go with the Microsoft Dataverse and perform bound action. Okay. Here you can pick the table name as worq. Okay. Then action name is dq. Okay. Then what is our worq row ID? So the row ID is this one. I mean for Contoso invoice WQ. So this is our, okay, you can just copy this and paste it here. Okay, this is fine. So when you push any item into the work queue from dispatcher, then this bot will automatically trigger and it will pass the information to your Power Automate desktop flows. Okay, so how to pass the information to Power Automate desktop, right? First, let's maybe clear the existing data so that we will understand how it works exactly. So let's clear this. Okay, let's go back to the dispatcher. Now let's try to push one work queue item into the Contoso invite work queue and see whether it triggers the performer bot or not. Okay, I will run the flow. I already cleared my work queue items. You can see here it is deleted. Now I'm pushing from the dispatcher. I want to just push only one item to check the performer bot, automatically triggering or not. Where we stand on the dispatcher, okay, it is pushed one item. Okay, let's go ahead and see. It is pushed. This is fine. Let's go back to our performer bot. So 10 seconds ago, 7:14. This is fine. You can see here when a row is added or modified or deleted, right? It will perform the bound action. That means it will dequeue the current item. Okay, whatever the data it pushed into the work queue items. Okay, if you look at here, the body contains input. So this is our input which we pushed from the dispatcher, only the one, right? That one, and also it contains a name. Okay, now if you want to distribute the workload among the different machines, right? So what we need to do, let's slightly change our performer bot code. Okay, here we no need to process the work queue items because we are processing from Power Automate Cloud Flow. Here just go ahead and create the input parameters. Okay, now let's create work queue ID. Okay, so let's keep this well, data type is text, that's fine, and click save. Okay, now let's go back to the dispatcher and let's try to run the flow and try to push only the one item to the work queue. Okay, let's go ahead and check Power Automate. I just enable the auto refresh as well. So once it is pushed, we can see that work item here. Okay. Okay, I think it is pushed. Okay, it is showing processing because it is automatically picked from the performer part. Okay, now we can see here work queue ID, work queue item ID. Okay, so even if you look at this, you can see the work queue items details tab. There is a column called unique ID or reference. Okay, you can click this. So now I want to pass that information only to my Power Automate desktop flow. Okay, so you can see here the output of this perform bond action. You can see the invoice details 1000, and also it have the work queue, not this one, maybe let's check in the upper area. Where it is. I will open this. You can see the details start with system. Okay, here you go. So this is the unique ID by Q. Okay, so this information I want to pass to my Power Automate desktop flow. That's what I created a work queue ID here. To avoid any confusion, let's keep this as unique work queue ID. Okay, now I want to pass that information to my Power Automate desktop. So what I will do, it's available under the body, right? So I will create, I will just modify my compose action here. Compose action, compose unique ID. Let's keep like this, and let's take the unique ID from the body. Okay, unique ID. This is the parameter I want to pass to my program desktop, unique ID by Q. Okay, this is perfect. So once you composed, the unique ID here, then next step would be the invoke your desktop flows, right? So you can choose this and click on the run a flow build with Power Automate for desktop. If you have the machine group, well and good. If you don't have, let's go with the machine. To distribute workload, the machine group would be required. Okay, else it will go in the queue and it will run one by one. The request still loading. Come, I think that preview environment making more trouble. Next time we'll make sure to don't use the preview environment. Let's open it again. Let's take the desktop flow. Okay, perfect. So if you have the machine group, you can create the new connection. So just enter the username and password and take the machine group here. I don't have it, so let's go with only the existing connections. So I will go choose performer invoice. Okay, so then we have to choose the running mode. That is the uh, run mode. Okay, let's refresh this. Performer bot attended. Let's check performer bot. Update. It is showing some previous parameters. After that I have modified. So let's refresh it again. I want that unique ID, right? So it should show the unique ID. Okay, so let's maybe keep changing the flow. Maybe sometimes it will work. Come on, where is that unique ID? Where is the unique ID? work id. Okay, so it is not showing. So what I will do, mm, 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 I will create one more performer bot. Performer bot for invoice. Okay, where is that? The new flow. It is still loading. Even though I have very good, bandwidth, network bandwidth, but it takes a lot of time in the preview environment. Okay, this is fine. I will just copy paste the same code here, and let's check. So it not include the input parameter. That is okay. I will recreate that again. Q unique or Q ID, right? So let's keep external name also same and click save and save this. Let's go back and refresh this. We will get the performer bot invoice flow. I think it got saved. No, it should show that as well. Okay, let's type performer bot invoice. Okay, let's choose that, and we have to pass the compose unique ID output. Okay, this is fine. Then click save. We have the broken run build officer. Please fix the connections. Let's fix the connections. Or maybe I will choose another connections. That also fine. I change my connection to the Western machine. I click save now. I think this time it should work. Why it is showing? Come back. It is still saving. Okay, okay. Go back and pick the parameter again. Output. Now it is okay. This is fine. Now let's save this, and I will close the existing old performer bot. This is not more required. So let's go back to work queue and see what are the information we have in the items. Let's remove this first. Again, we will push the same data or maybe the different data. Let's check. We received any RQ items. Okay, perfect. So we received the RQ item. I will just try to enable this and see. Okay, let's check whether it is triggering or not. Meanwhile, I will push one more data as well. Okay, perfect. It is running right now. So here is the unique ID. Where is the work queue? You can see here one shows the processed. I think one flow executed successfully. Perfect, right? So you can see here. So this is the unique work queue ID we passed here. Okay, so that related to what is the invoice ID. So the invoice ID is I hope it is 1001 or 100. Okay, let's verify the queue as well. Okay, it is showing processing. That is fine. Let's wait for some time. And also, meanwhile, we will try to execute one more flow. Okay, it pushed one more item. So its system ID starts with 30. Okay. Okay, it is started 30. I think it is 1002. Yeah. And now it is changed from queue to processed. You can see the data 1002 here. Now it is showing processed. So once it is processed, then it will shows the status from queue to processed. Okay. So remaining things, it is still running on the under my hosted machine US. Okay, so this is how you have to create your dispatcher. So dispatcher is just simply to push your data to the work queue, and from performer, once your work queue item is pushed, then you can extract that information, then you can process. And once all the work is done, then you can change that work queue item status from queue to processed. And also we have seen how to encrypt and decrypt the PA data in this use case. I hope this video is useful for everyone, and again we will catch up with another use case. Thank you so much for watching.